Hello, Mr. Laporte. Just want to talk about today's assignment, which is to read Newsella article on Westward Movement, continuation from the last article that we read on Lewis and Clark's journey exploration of the Louisiana Purchase and all the way through the Oregon country to the Pacific. So they added that into their mission, and they're going into disputed territory. The Spanish don't want them there. The English do not want them there. They have to deal with the natives, of course, as well. The different tribes that they'll pass through. So they bring Truchant Charbonneau. He's the one that's paid to come with them, but what they really want is his wife, Sacagawea. And so as they go on this journey, they're trudging through the water, they're pulling keel boats, they're portaging around falls and land obstacles, carrying all their equipment, starving to death. But the greatest benefit they have is Sacagawea. The whole time that she is with them, she has a young baby who's called Little Pomp. And as an infant, weighing 10 pounds or whatever, but as they go through the journey through over a year plus, closer to 2 years, this baby is getting larger every single day, and she's carrying him thousands of miles, walking basically from here to the Pacific Ocean and then back, carrying this little boy. Hard enough to carry yourself and make sure what you're responsible for makes it, but she has the added responsibility of this little baby that she has to carry with her. It's quite a daunting task, and a miracle that they made it back, especially her and her baby. So the success of the mission kind of falls into her lap. And a good example of this is when they get beyond the Dakotas. One of the first chiefs that they meet, the chief of the tribe just happens to be her brother, and he hadn't seen her for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. She was kidnapped as a youth, and now she is married, has a baby, and she just walks into camp with these European type people that she's with. Good fortune for them, because they needed to barter to trade for horses to continue on their journey, and the deal is made. The horses aren't that healthy, the best horses, but they are horses nonetheless. And then they get into the Bitterroot Mountains, climbing through the Rocky Mountains, very hard, difficult, and they get caught in snowstorms, blizzards, etc., and have to stop for a while. And they get to where they're actually starving to death. They eat the horses. So some unimaginable things that are happening as they go through their journey. So eventually they get through the Rockies and all the way out to the Pacific. They stay there through the winter and then make their way back, and the going back is much easier, and they're able to report to President Jefferson that the land that we have purchased and then further out to the Oregon country, to the Pacific, is very bountiful. Sure, there are obstacles and some rough patches and things that aren't that great. The Badlands in South Dakota is one example. But there's a variety of things, animals, plants, land, and it's all ours for $15 million. So for a while, President Jefferson had thought that everybody's dead, the mission, who knows what happened to him, but it didn't work out. But they're somewhat late coming back. He's expecting them So they basically had given up that they were dead. So successful mission. Then that opens up the idea that there's great things out there, and there's land, and there's opportunity, and there's natural resources, and there's fish and wildlife and farmland. So we get people that are in the east, in places where all the farmland, the best farmland, has been taken, has been cleared, and now when you are the fifth son, the seventh son, maybe even the 10th son, you are looking to go have your own experiences. Americans are healthier, they're having more kids, they're stronger, they have more freedom, they can read, they can write, they're good at hard labor, and off they go headed west. And we have the 13 original colonies, of course. The 14th state is Vermont, which is made a state to stop New York and New Hampshire from fighting a war over that territory. And then we go to Kentucky and Tennessee. Then after the Louisiana Purchase, Louisiana, and then we start filling in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and I think 1837, and then Wisconsin, 1848, Minnesota, 1858, we start opening up this territory, moving in as territories. In 1810, Illinois has 12,000 people, the whole state, double the population of Altoona as the whole territory of Illinois. But it quickly, Chicago grows, and by 1840, they have over 500,000 people in the whole state. That's how fast they are growing within 30 years, going from 0 to 500,000 basically. So then the push continues, and then you have things like the gold rush, and then also opportunities to move into Texas. If the land is there and it's basically free, and the government can sell it for very cheap prices to almost free, and that supplies the government with revenue as they're adding more prosperity and more revenue and more mineral wealth. So the natives then have to deal with the Americans moving into their territory, which causes quite a bit of problems and conflict, of course. You have the forced removal of natives. The Trail of Tears is not just one event, but over time, 20-year period, where Native Americans are forcefully removed from their tribal areas into reservations, like in places like Oklahoma, moved out of places like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and sent to other places where the land is not as bountiful. So then Texas, achieving its independence from Mexico, eventually becoming a state, and we're going all the way to the Pacific. The manifest destiny, that United States destiny, is to be one country from the Atlantic coast all the way to the Pacific coast, from sea to shining sea, one America. And so in the continental United States, there's 48 stories of how each state was developed. I encourage you to investigate any states that you are curious about, and find out, like Illinois, starting with 12,000 people. Did they all go to Chicago? Was it farmland? Was it a lot of people moving to the Mississippi? Transportation. Lincoln is involved in that early history as his family moves there from Kentucky. I encourage you to look at different states and what their histories are, or look at Wisconsin. So your assignment then to read the article on Westward Movement and then do the questions and the short essay and have that done. And I'll see you on Thursday, and I think we'll try to open up a Google Meet for the class if anybody wants to ask questions or just say hi to each other. Last time I did it, there's probably about 10 students that over time showed up. It's kind of nice. So maybe we'll see you Thursday. Enjoy. Have a great day. Bye.